We've got the FM9 conversation with Supriya Srinath, so let's cut across.
We are talking about targets in this budget, 5.1% fiscal deficit, 7.6% growth targets. I'm sure Swami will disagree with me, but I will throw that question to you first. Many people believe this is a realistic target than last time around. Is it perhaps because you want to rebuild the government's credibility, which took some kind of a beating due to very aggressive targets last year?
No. First of all, let us remember, when I presented the budget last time, the situation was little different, because there was a glimmer of hope. Europe and advanced economies started recovering, though fragile and slow. European crisis, Eurozone crisis particularly of this magnitude, was not there. We thought that this malicious impact would be contained within 4 countries. So it is called Greece, Portugal, Ireland, Greece and Spain. Therefore, the assumptions which I made during the presentation of budget, it was in an atmosphere of recovery. But this time I know that Eurozone may take longer time. Japan and USA, they will take longer time to have firm growth recovery. Keeping that objective in view, what can be achieved, I did that. Just one example, people may say that you have got 2011-12 5.9% fiscal deficit. But please remember, from 6%, by 2010-11, I was able to bring it down to 4.7% fiscal deficit. Though I got the benefit of rather bonanza of the auctions of 3G spectrum.
That's right.
That gave me the benefit. But this year I did not get the benefit because of the circumstances for which we did not have control.
I believe that this person formally doesn't agree, you will be able to...
If we see going, I mean, if the assumption now is that this year the world economy is going to pick up and this will help us to have 7.6% growth. If the world economy is going to pick up from where it is, then surely oil is going to become even more expensive. Food and fertilizer will become even more expensive. So in that light, when you say the oil subsidy, we see according to the budget is going to be cut by 24,000 crores. Fertilizer subsidy already exceeded the budget thing last year substantially by about 12,000 crores. Now we are assessing once again this will be brought down. So these would, either you are really saying, Lord, give me fiscal discipline, but not on budget day. I'm going to do it 2 months from now, 3 months from now, Mamta willing.
No, it is not that, Swami. The fact of the matter is, I have taken note of the fact. That's why in one, though the speech was a little lengthy, but while giving the export-import figure, what did I mention? That there has been diversification. Diversification of Indian export. If it would not have taken place, then the adverse impact of Europe and America would have been much worse. Yes. Therefore, the short point which I am trying to drive at, that I shall have to maintain the fiscal consolidation. This is the compulsion. Roadmap I have given, but it is to be executed. Sometimes in our multi-party democratic coalition, it takes time, but ultimately we shall have to do it, and if we cannot do it, then we shall have to face a very larger, rather graver consequences. That's why we shall have to do it, and it can be done not necessarily only through the budgetary route. Roadmap is there, but it will have to be executed, implemented through the executive decision.
So in an earlier interview with Swami, the Prime Minister said, we will have to bite the bullet. We will have to take tough measures. Given the political situation in the country, your allies are up in arms. The fact is that there has to be rationalization in fuel prices. Should one expect some kind of a tweaking to happen?
I just said, roadmap, we said when? Now, every single day, there are hundreds of crores. Every day. So, you can say, well, it will take time, I have coalition, I have to build it. Every day that you're building, it's going up. So we need to have some idea. Do you think this will come by the end of this monsoon session? Will it be before the next session of Parliament? Is it only going to be towards the end of the year?
As far as the legislative measures are concerned, on 4 important legislations, I have got the recommendations of the Standing Committee. There is a process. You cannot bypass the process.
For the increase in for the deregulation, deregulation of diesel, you can do any day.
No, that is executive decision. That is executive decision.
Yes.
But, and we have done it. In last June we have done it. It is not that we have not done it. Petrol is deregulated. Therefore, only diesel, kerosene and LPG are not, but the decision has been taken, it has not been implemented, it is to be implemented. When, how, that I cannot just spell out right now. Only one point I would like to remind you particularly, Mr. Swami, because you have seen this country, you have seen that from 1984, after the 1984 election, in a single election to Lok Sabha, Indian electorate have not given decisive verdict, they have given fractured mandate to the ruling party. Therefore, no use of lamenting that we have no majority, we have no number. We can lament, but that does not help me. What is there, with that we shall have to carry it
But
on.
are you finding it increasingly tough to bring
No, every time with the new change situations, things become more and more difficult. The type of overwhelming support which we had in 91 reforms, Congress did not have clear majority then, only 226 in a house of 573. But massive economic reform measures could be undertaken with the support of the other, which was not contemplated even earlier. He has seen the Indian politics in 60s and 70s was the politics of confrontation.
Yes.
There was a healthy departure in the early 90s.
Right.
And thereafter the various coalition governments, not only led by Congress, they have successfully implemented, they have faced similar problems in their own ways, somehow or other they have overcome it, and it would be possible to overcome it. It may take some time.
You want to take the question
Specifically on the food subsidy.
Right.
This year itself, I see that the food subsidy, which was supposed to be 60,000, has become 72,000, even without any Food Security Act. But if the Food Security Act is implemented in this 2012-13, I would have expected a substantial jump. The budget is showing hardly any increase in the subsidy at all next year compared to this year. Does this mean Food Security Act in fact is not going to be implemented in the coming year and will only come into effect the year after?
No, I do not, I cannot give you the specific time frame. It will depend on the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Parliamentary Standing Committee is currently examining the report. And after obtaining the report, then we shall also have to consult the state chief ministers, because they have also expressed their views. They will also, we have requested them that please give your views. Their political parties' representatives are also in the standing committee, so that state government's views can also be ascertained by the standing committee, so that the process can be expedited. But I cannot exactly give you the time frame unless I get it. My commitment so far subsidies are concerned, you have noticed that I will peg it down to 2% of GDP for the current year. And for the next 3 years, my efforts would be to bring it down to 1.75%. And this is not an artificial capping which I am having. Currently, it is 1.9, 1.89% of GDP.
Sir, also your budget talks about
because they are
amendment in IT Act. This is being done with a retrospective effect, and many people believe this will obviously impact the Vodafone case.
Is that the end?
No, it need not be interpreted in this way. What is the basis of the judgment? Judgment is that Supreme Court has told government that you clearly determine the tax which foreign investors are expected to pay.
That's right.
And through legislative measures you clarify it. Therefore, what we are doing, we are making the intention of the legislature clear about the taxation, which there was a doubt on the basis of which Supreme Court has given this direction, and we are making the retrospective clarifications through the finance bill.
So the Vodafone will now have to pay, and various other deals which were...
No, that it is the interpretation how they will do as the finance bill will pass. But what we are exactly doing, we are explaining the legal position, intention of the legislature, and you will recollect on several occasions This type of retrospective legislation as a consequence to the verdict of the courts have been done.
But sir, don't you think this will raise a bit of a credibility question with foreign investors? They will believe that, here is a judgment, but then the government goes and brings about a
legislation. It is not like that, because had it been for the first time, your question could have been raised. But if you look at, even China has done it. They have also protected their own domestic taxation laws. In their own way.
In general, China only does prospective changes. India seems to be famous for doing retrospective changes. China normally does it ahead. Right. Sir, good. At this new duty that you have put, my fear is that smuggling will begin again in substantial. I mean, the transport cost is so little that even if 4%, 5% is enough for smuggling to restart.
Experts are saying that this is the just balance. Because as an old revenue minister of 70s, where gold smuggling was one of the biggest problems to the revenue minister, I am fully sensitive to this issue. But they told me this is the right mix, what we should adopt, and exactly I have done that. Please remember, almost 40 billion US dollars last year was spent on importing gold, next to oil.
Yeah. That's true.
And this country cannot afford to have that.
So, the second question also, sir, is on FDI and multi-brand retail. You made a broad statement of how you want consensus. The markets perhaps wanted to hear something more bold from the finance minister.
The question is that is the commitment I made in Parliament itself, in the last session. In the Parliament itself, after talking to Trinamool Chief Mamata Banerjee and after talking to the other political parties, this is exactly the language I have used, that I shall consult the state chief minister before finalizing it, and exactly I have repeated.
But give us one figure. You said all these anti-tax evasion measures, I'm going to get black money back. Give me a figure. How many thousand crores of black money do you think you're going to recover in this budget?
No, I do not know how much we will recover out of that, but what we have recovered, almost 37,000 crores, by preventing mistransfers and by getting the voluntary compliance and the information from the others. The information is actually started coming. No prospective, not retrospective.
It's in the budget?
No, last year actual achievement was 37,000.
Sir, I have permission to ask two more questions, and which is why I'll go ahead. And this is largely political, because you're not just a finance minister in this government. The fact is that many things that need to be done outside of the budget to boost investment. You've tried to do things with India. So that's question number one. How will you take care of those things outside? And I think one thing that the markets and especially investors want to hear from you is, they are not just worried about fiscal deficit or inflation, they are very worried about whether UPA will be able to complete the full term in office. And just to set the record straight, would you want to soothe and frame nerves right now?
It will continue to complete its term. Nobody wants election.
But
except some, at least the major national parties do not want election. Major national parties do not want election. Because the electoral performance, if you have seen, in the limited way, in the first phase of election last year, it was mixed. This election also it has been mixed. Though Congress lost one state, Congress gained one state. And UP it was not with Congress. Therefore, Punjab it was not with Congress, we expected. Somehow or other hype was raised, but that does not speak of what happened in the past. UP we are not ruling from 89 onwards, 91 onwards. Therefore, these are the ground realities one is to keep in mind, and I can assure you, and through you to the prospective investors, make investment here, because this is the safer place compared to any other place.
But do you think, sorry?
May I just ask, because you have tied up with BSP in Uttarakhand, do you also have some commitment from BSP in New Delhi that they will support you whenever needed?
There are
also some talk about
I am not aware of any such commitment, what is there here and there. But the question is that political parties, they work in their own interest. If they feel that particular action is to be taken at a particular point of time to further the interests of their political parties, they will take.
Do you agree that coalition dharma is taking a toll on reforms? 3 big-ticket reforms have been stalled because your allies did not agree to this. FDI, multi-brand retail, diesel deregulation, now of course the railway hike that came after 10 long years. Do you think it's taking a toll on policy making?
No, sometimes the entire reform exercises, I mentioned it many a time, that it is not a mantra to be chanted repeatedly, it is to be put into practice. And as there is a fractured mandate, limited mandate is that you rule, but you carry people with you. That's why we are not giving you the absolute majority. That is to be accepted. That is the ground reality.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.